All right, I want you to take a look at this code and figure out what does what do. That means you can pause the video and figure it out. Did you pause it? All right, one more time. All right, let's take a look at it. It takes as an input parameter, as an argument, an array of integers. How large? We don't know. And the output is also an array of integers. How large? We don't know. So let's take a look. First line, hey, you know what? It creates output of size 3. Awesome. Then we use a fancy schmancy I variable because I is great. No, I hate I. I mean, I don't hate me, but I hate I. I is a horrible variable name because you don't know what it does. So what does it do? Well, here on the right-hand side, it appears to be the index looping through something. We're using a while loop that loops through all the values of A. If we were to look only at output 0, we'd say when A is less than output 0, we make output 0 equal to A. And then we just go through. At the end of that, we would know that output 0 is going to be what? It's going to be the minimum of the array. Output 1 does just the opposite. It's greater than. So it's going to be, the result of output 1 is going to be the maximum of the array. And then output 2, as we move along, is continually adding all the elements in the array to itself. We are getting the count, which doesn't really help us much, because down here what we do is we take output 2 and then we divide it by the length, which gives us what? The average. So this returns an array of size 3 that will give you the minimum, the maximum, and the average of any integer array that is input. Kind of horrible, but kind of cool at the same time, because up until now we've always had methods that only return one value, and here we have a method that returns 3. There are better ways when we can use objects to return those values. We'll do that later. I surprised you. Another warm-up. Hey, what is this constructor? How and when is it used? This question was in your homework. Figure it out. All right, let's talk about it. Most people confuse this constructor with something completely different. The best way to really think about it is to take an example. We're going to take something devilish, this class, devilish. It has 3 instance variables and 1 instance constant. I know it's constant because it has final, and then the identifier is in all capitals. So it's got a name, a value, it has some hope, how much hope is left, and then we have a constant. So I have a constructor in this devilish class, and in fact, I have 2 constructors. Look at this. This constructor down here has 2 parameters, string name and int value, and what it does is it uses the this dot to get access to the instance variable name, and then it uses the name from the formal parameter and assigns that into the instance variable. It uses this dot to get access to the instance field value, and then it takes the formal variable value and stuffs it inside of that. And then it decides to initialize hope left to devilishly none. Oh, how sad. Now, if I were to have only this constructor, then I'd only be able to construct a devilish object when I passed in 2 parameters. But let's give it some defaults. So I'm going to create a parameterless constructor, and it will do the same thing as here, but it's going to decide to make the name egg, and the value is going to be 0. And when I call this with the parentheses, that is a default constructor. A default constructor allows me to call a constructor from within a constructor. I'm calling the constructor down here from within this constructor. Here is this constructor that calls down here. So that's what a this constructor is. I'm calling a constructor from within a constructor that allows me to leverage the behavior of one constructor from another one. There is a practice it. Practice it exercise 819. I bet you, if you've done this already, and I'm not sure if you have, but if you did do it, I bet you didn't use a this constructor. I want you to go back to exercise 819, and I want you to rewrite it using this constructor. That means you're going to call a different constructor from within another constructor. After you do that, I bet you will see the value of using and leveraging this constructor. If you're still here, that's good. What you see here is a possible solution to the exercise. You can see that we have a constructor that takes 3 arguments. And what you can do is you can use this constructor, creating the first and second argument from P, which is the first argument. So you do P.x and P.y. Then you call the other constructor with this constructor, using the P.x, P.y, W, and H. Super cool. Super.